Who's better on offense and defense? The Giants or the Eagles? Let's stop playing. We all know the answer to this goddamn question. Let's dive into why the Eagles are getting better on offense and defense and make Big Blue Big Blue. So we're starting here with the offense and just ranked overall much better. Third overall in DVOA, and Giants are 10th or 9th by play, 10th by DVOA. Not bad, but still not the Eagles. Eagles score more points, 6.1 more a game, as well as gain more yards, 49.8 more per game. So let's look at the quarterbacks. So Daniel Jones, before this year, had been, turnover prone. But this year, he's seemingly got it under control. And he's very much a threat to run. So he's added that element more so into his arsenal. The head coach, Daboll, has done a great job of maximizing what he does well and limiting him to just doing that strictly. And you can say every offense does that. Of course, tailors smartly, if they're smart about it, tailors their offense to suit what their players do best. Chiefly, their main leader, who handles the ball every play, their quarterback, unless it's a direct handoff. But that also means he strays away from the things that he can't or does not do well. So he's smartly limiting him because he's limited as a player at this point in his career. And he's in his 5th year, so he's not going to evolve that much further. He is what he is, most likely at this point. And Jalen Hurts, he is the system. I know they were saying, okay, questionable. We saw those last 2 weeks before the Week 18 game when he was out, what things look like a life without Jalen Hurts. And it, quite frankly, pun intended, did hurt. But he was a borderline MVP candidate. I don't believe he's going to win it. That's going to go most likely to Patrick Mahomes this season. But he played damn well. His jump from first-year starter to second-year starter leaps and fucking bounds. And he was careful with the ball. He threw 22 touchdowns, but he only had 6 interceptions. And Daniel Jones threw less TDs than him, but came in with one lower with 5. But the difference, you look at the records, look at the way they manage the game, manage the offenses. He's very conservative. It's not an offense that jumps off the field in yards per play. I think it's around 6.5. Ours is 8. And just don't take a lot of chances downfield. Chunk plays aren't there. Explosive plays, few and far in between. And yes, he's a runner like Hurts, but Hurts is much more dangerous. I'll give it to Daniel Jones. He's not sneaky athletic. He's pretty athletic for the QB position, and he will gain ground on you, and quick, as we saw in the Vikings game. But he doesn't do it with the regularity. He just doesn't create a sense of danger, such as when Hurts is on that field in a defense's mind, being honest. So just managing the game, being able to make plays, and just that uncanny ability to just throw into tight coverage and down the field, Jalen Hurts, easy. Let's move on to the wide receivers. Or let's move to the running backs. Now, their stats actually compare pretty favorably, with Miles having having the better yards per carry average, as well as the TD mark. He has one more TD than Saquon, but that's here or there. And very close in yards. But a couple weeks before the season finale, it was in Barkley's favor, so we'll give that to him. And he's had, like they said, a shakier line to run behind, whereas Miles, his is elite. I'll give that to you, but that's not going to clinch it. That's not going to clinch the day. That's not going to be the linchpin. That's not going to be the deciding factor in the game. So they're more even than the quarterback battle. But we'll get to the Giants. I can see that. receiver, hands down. We don't even know the name of their guys offhand. The nation doesn't know them. Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton and Richie James, they have come into their own. They've become more than serviceable. They've been timely, kept that offense on pace and rhythm. And last week, of course, they were playing a poor secondary, but they were getting open. They were where the quarterback needed them to be, and he's starting to trust them, read their body language, and adjust to them. But that being said, they're still not A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and then Quez Watkins thrown in that as well. Just giving them an advantage hands down. Just more physically imposing, better route runners, more talent. But that's not a knock on them. For where they were drafted and where they started the season, kudos to them for getting off the ground running and giving them a fighting chance and a decent chance in a lot of games. But they're just outgunned here. All right, let's move to the tight end. I'm going to say it, Dallas Goedert, but he had 702 yards missing 5 games. He would have probably gone over 1,000 as well if he had played the whole season. They don't even talk about Daniel Bellinger. I mean, it is his rookie season, so cut the man some slack. But he just doesn't have the talent that Dallas has, flat out. Offensive line, I'm not even going to list their guys because some of them are just replacements. But they couldn't hold up in the last match, week 14, when a lot of them were in. And Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, he's more than salvaged his career. He's become I'd say a top 10, top 15 left tackle in this league. And it's hard to find those guys. But all of his bookend running mate and guys on the interior next to him and opposing side, they're serviceable at best. So they can be used as a turnstile for this defensive line for the Eagles. Jordan Mailata, Pro Bowl alternate. Landon Dickerson, Pro Bowler. Jason Kelsey, Pro Bowler. Isaac Seumalo, Pro Bowler alternate. Lane Johnson, Pro Bowl alternate. I think he's a Pro Bowler or a Pro Bowl alternate, one of those two. But he's an All-Pro though, I know that, as well as Jason Kelsey. Those guys, they've I think had the most consecutive, some of the most consecutive starts, as well as like playing together, like the most starts this year. But they just coalesce as a unit, and individually they're talented as well. But coming together, like they just dominate week in and week out. And yeah, they have some poor play here and there, but they by and large get the job done. So it's not even close. They just push around opposing defenses, and they're athletic. A lot of them just are freaks. The left tackle, the right tackle, the center. I mean, both guards, you could say that as well. I mean, they just push people around. So it's not even close there. Lane Johnson, he might not be he's not going to be at 100%. But even a downgraded Lane Johnson is probably better than most of their linemen. That just speaks to his talent level, and as well as the dearth of talent that we have, or I should say the lack of talent that they have. All right, we're gonna call it there. They call it 8-3, but I would just say, as a whole, some of those parts give us a greater whole. Like Barkley is better than Sanders, but does it really matter when you have that offensive line? We could put Scott back there. We could put Gainwell back there. Hell, we could put Trey Sermons back there. I believe he would shine like a motherfucker because he's just built to run with the offensive line. So that doesn't even factor. But they give us such an advantage. Whereas the Giants, they're fighting to keep the game close. They need to be in that kind of match. They're not going to win a shootout. They don't have the weaponry, nor can they protect. And the quarterback, while he hasn't made mistakes, it's only a matter of time. I believe this weekend, this defense, which we'll get to in a second, will force him to make mistakes. All right, moving over to the defense. So we have the number one defense in the league in yards allowed. And the Giants were 24th in yards allowed and 18th in points. So the Eagles were 18 points allowed. And the DVOA were 6th, Giants are 29th. So that just tells you that before we even look at the individual pieces, playing as a unit, they're all out of sync, all out of whack. And they have a poor run defense as well as a poor pass defense. And you don't want to be suffering in both. Have one ailment. Don't have a limp and a weak arm. So let's dive into first the defensive line. So obviously the Eagles had 70 sacks, the best since 1989. That's been the best number the league has seen, and we had 2 garbage sacks in a Week 18 game. So really 68 over the old standard 16 slated game schedule. But man, just dominated. First team ever to have 4 linemen with 10 plus sacks. Hassan Reddick with 16, and not even including Fletcher Cox, who had 7. Javon Hargrave with 11, Josh Sweat with 11, and Brandon Graham with 11. So just dominating. I mean, and then rotating our defensive tackles in and out, as well as some other rotational pieces there. I mean, Robert Quinn, don't even mention him. He hasn't had a sack, but he's gonna have some in the playoffs. Mark that. But yeah, just you don't even know their guys. I know them. Kayvon Thibodeau, he's been on as of late, had his best game yet, and he's still a rookie. In Week 15 against the Redskins, 12 tackles, a sack, forced fumble. So I mean, he has some talent, and he be going up against Lane Johnson. So we'll see if Lane is not 100%. He's gonna struggle with handling him. He's a speed rusher, but Jordan Mailata struggles with speed rushers, but the power guys he handles. Lane eats those guys alive. So we'll see. But yeah, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence is the one to watch out for. He pushes that pocket. He made the Pro Bowl. Some say over Javon Hargrave, undeserved, but you go and look at the number of hurries he had. I think he was second in the league, behind maybe Chris Jones, with a number of hurries from the defensive tackle position. So he's talented. He's a beast. He's a monster. And he's big, but he's quick and fast. So he gives Kelsey something to handle there in the middle, but our guy's also quick. What he lacks in raw size, he does have a good amount of power for his size. He's quick and he's exceptionally fast. So there's a lot of things we can do to mitigate him. Screens, have him pulling, have other people scrape him down the line. So there's things you can do to combat that. He's only one player as well. And even though I'm going to love seeing Leonard Williams playing next to him and see how we handle him as well. But overall, I'll give our offensive line the better grade versus their defensive line. And then versus on the flip side, their offensive line is going to struggle against our talent-laden defensive line. All right, let's get to the linebackers. TJ Edwards, he's finished with 159 tackles, 2 sacks, 7 pass breakups. He was more than solid this year. I believe Gannon put him in bad positions with pass coverage. That's just me. Put him in more man, less zone. As well as Kazir White, who struggled with the tight ends, in the latter half of this year. But he's still been more than solid. Jalen Smith and Gerard Davis, I think they're decent, but they are gonna struggle covering Dallas Goedert. He's gonna eat them alive. And T.J. Hawkinson did that to him last week, 10 catches for $130. Think of what Dallas can do. He's salivating at this point looking at that matchup. So give us the advantage there. And I would say it's not even a strong advantage, but that's all you need. Like I said, they're lesser pieces in the machine. All you need is the one guy being the glue there. And TJ is more than solid. He's gotten better each and every year. This being his, I think, 4th or 5th year. I think his 4th year. So he ran out like a 4.92 at the combine, but his recognition is off the charts. So let's look at cornerback. Darius Slay and Bradbury. Darius made the Pro Bowl and James made the All Pro. So the eyes in the sky don't lie. They're more than adequate pieces. I hate how they're misused and miscast as zone corners. When let those boys play man, just line up, bump and run in the receiver's face or a couple yards off. Let them get there before the 5 yards and contact them, affect the route, redirect. That's a key part of a corner. Buying time, being able to redirect the receiver and get hands on them, get the feel for their body. When they're running the route, being right alongside them, but bumping their bodies, pause, to feel them out. You feel where they're there, like it's like a mother with a child. Like walk alongside them, you can feel them bumping inside you. Pause, deep pause, bumping beside you, so you know that they're there. We don't allow them to do that in this defense. I hate that. It's a zone read and react, which is horrible. The antithesis of what you want to be doing as an NFL player. But yeah, we have that, such talent there. Those guys. And Avonte Maddox hurts us, him being out. But we do have a slot corner / he's our safety. I'll get to him in a second. But he comes down there and he can play that nickel spot. It's what he was known for as a Saint. So give us the advantage there. Safety as well. They're Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. Xavier McKinney might be solid and Julian Love might be, average to, somewhat decent. But they're not. I mean, I would say Epps, not so much, but CJ Gardner-Johnson led the league, missed like 5 or 6 games. I think 6 games with 6 picks. Tie for the league lead, 4-way tie. Just shows his talent. Like, he changed the attitude, the swagger, the play back there at the safety position. Reminds he reminds us of what's the guy? Malcolm Jenkins back there. Maybe not the hard-hitting ability, but definitely the playmaking part of it. And Reed Blankenship, we discovered when CJ got hurt that he's a more than adequate replacement and allows us to have CJ come down and play the nickel package, which is, excellent depth, excellent find, a rookie free agent out of Middle Tennessee State. And, he picked off, not Brett Favre's replacement, Aaron Rodgers. Beautiful pickup. He read the coverage perfectly and snagged the interception and announced himself to the NFL. Still a rookie, still learning, still, can get better at a lot of things, but more than solid out there. So y'all give us an advantage there. And we'll wrap it up there. I know the longer video, but man, defense as well. They give us chances to shut down the small ball offense. And if we play it right and we don't get chilled and relaxed and get comfortable by way of coordinator, him calling the game like a little zone, letting them, pick their spots and just, anybody can light you up with that. They're a competent quarterback. But we'll have that advantage on defense as well. I think we'll get some picks, we'll get some turnovers and give the ball back to our offense, playing with house money, and then it'll be all over. So I think, we win this. We don't coast, but we win it handily. Going with the Eagles, of course. So let's get up out of here. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go.
Like, comment, share, subscribe if you
Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs. Or other social media.